Welcome to the Hearthchemist, everything Hearthstone and Yu-Gi-Oh! And I am back with an updated deck profile of Invoked shaddolls. Last week I participated in a tournament, a locals tournament, and I was able to get my first third place ever. So I made some modifications based on what I thought that didn't work, and hopefully next week I can get another top at least. That would be great. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the deck profile. So I'm going to handle triple Squamata. Squamata is your play starter, so definitely 3 is a must. Its flip effect is decent, and being able to pop a card is always good, or a monster is always good. But that's not the main reason. You definitely want it because of when it's sent to the graveyard per card effect. Another key card is definitely Alistair the Invoker. It does have the flexibility that if it can search for an invocation, yes, but also it can boost your fusion monsters. So, say if you already have an invocation in the hand and you have something like on the field, like a Winda, it's very easy to get over. So, generally, what the opponent tries to do is get over a Winda and then go to their main phase 2 and pop off with their plays. That's going to stop them for the most part. 3,200 is a lot more difficult to get over as opposed to 2,200, and you can still go for an invocation, fusion summon, since you can banish from the graveyard. Alistair. A new card that I added before it was Artifact Lancia because I thought there was going to be a little bit more dinos, but there were actually 0 dinos. So I decided to put Effect Veiler. So the reason that I have Effect Veiler over something like Infinite Impermanence is because it's a light monster. The same reason I had Lancia, and even though Lancia was pretty much dead, most of my duels for its effect, it really wasn't a brick or a dead card because I had the Shaddoll fusion or El Shaddoll fusion, which was it allowing me to go to construct as Lancia was my only light monster in the same way that now Effect Veiler is my only light monster. And if it's my turn, I really can't use its hand trap effect that I can negate the opponent. It's only during the opponent's turn that I can negate an effect of a monster. So yeah, definitely. I think I'm going to test it out and see how it works, but I suspect that it should be pretty useful overall. But we'll see how it works. Another one that I have is triple Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. So again, it's a hand trap. It's the standard one. It's the one that is able to negate the most effects. There was definitely a matchup which was against Altergeist that it really didn't serve a purpose at all. So like in those matchups, I might just replace it with a Cosmic Cyclone or the updated version of Mystical Space Typhoon, which I kind of blanked out for now. But yeah, definitely having in the main deck is good. Maybe in the side deck, Infinite Impermanence, maybe to just negate the effect of the Altergeist that bounces monsters. That definitely caused me a huge issue during the last tournament. Now the two ofs, Wendy. Wendy is good, but a lot of the times by the time that I got to the third Wendy, it really didn't have that many targets as I don't have that many shaddolls overall. So I think two is good. Maybe I would add it again. Currently, my deck stands at 42 cards. There's a reason for that. I was kind of running a little bit of calcs, and I have a new fusion monster that you'll see in a second. That they definitely have 3 brick cards that you don't want to draw. So maybe I might push it up to 43 just because, again, it reduces the odds of me drawing those specific 3 cards. But for now, I think 2 is fine. I'll see if it works or not. Another 2 of is Shaddoll Hedgehog. Really like Shaddoll Hedgehog for its flexibility. You can add either spell or trap if it's flipped, or if it's sent by a card effect to a monster, so that's pretty good. Now for the 1 of Shaddolls, the Beast, it's able to draw. A lot of the time you don't want to see it in your hand because, again, it requires a tribute to summon, so that definitely isn't good, but it's still a fodder for like Shaddoll Fusion or whatever, so it's not completely dead. Another one of Nail Shaddoll Aerial. If I were to see more dinos, maybe I could use this or other card that was super reliant on the graveyard. I might add it, but it really wasn't that useful during the tournament. So I think one is okay. Another one, Dragon. Dragon is able to get over cards that can't be destroyed by battle or card effect, so that's definitely good. One Falco because of the name, and it's able to special summon itself, which again might be useful in some situations. And one Dark Magician, which again that kind of gives away what new fusion I got, and one Red Eyes Black Dragon. So that's going to be the monsters. Now going to the spells. Obviously, triple Shaddoll Fusion, really good card overall. Its ability to special summon from the deck is great. Obviously, if your opponent has um, Ash Blossom, you're going to it's not going to be that great, but still overall, I think having three is a must. The same with El Shaddoll Fusion, since it's a quick play spell card. It's going to have some useful situations, and the card that pretty much saved me during the last tournament, Super Polymerization, such a fantastic card. You have a bunch of Shaddolls with different attributes, so a lot of the time you're going to be able to get over what your opponent has. Then triple Magical Meltdown, is able to help you search for your Alistair the Invoker, and it also helps you bait if you already have an Alistair the Invoker in hand, and they have something like an Ash Blossom, and you activate this. Your opponent might be enticed to maybe negate the effect. And yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's a great card. Two ofs, Invocation. Thinking about adding it at three. It is a bit expensive, but I guess that I already am past that since initially I would say that I wouldn't spend that much money in cards, but once you get into it, I guess it's difficult to get out of it, and I might get a third one. But I think for now, two has been more than enough, to be honest, since you are able to recycle it over and over again. So I think for now, two is fine, but I might get a third. We'll see. And Called by the Grave, definitely very important. You want your Shaddoll Fusion to go off. So even though one feels a little bit sacky, I think that you should handle it. Then one Upstart Goblin. As I mentioned, my deck has 42 cards, so it it might be counterintuitive, right? Since why not just handle them 40, right? And then one of those Upstart Goblins, since the purpose of Upstart Goblin is to basically make your deck more consistent because you're reducing the size of the deck. But here, again, I don't want to open the Red Eyes or Dark Magician or Red Eyes Fusion. So definitely it reduces just by a small percentage the amount of times that I can start with either of those three brick cards. Although the Red Eyes Fusion isn't that much of a brick, to be honest. And if you're able to go to Predaplant, Verta, Anaconda, also the other cards aren't as bricky, but there might be some situations where they are. So again, the purpose is just to have a less horrible starting hand. It doesn't matter that yeah, I'm going from 42 card deck to a 41 card deck with Upstart Goblin more or less. So that's the only reason that I handle it. And we'll see how it works. It might be that I'm wrong and I might just replace this card overall with something like a Harpy's Feather Jester, which is pretty useful as well. But we'll see. And one Foolish Burial, as I mentioned, one Red Eyes Fusion. And then finally for the traps, two Shaddoll Schisms, which is a pretty good card. Its ability to send one of the cards of your opponent's cards to the graveyard with the same attribute of the monster that you fusion summon is good. Obviously, not being able to attack directly with the monster is a little bit of a hindrance, but a lot of the times Yu-Gi-Oh is about grinding it out. So if your opponent can't do anything, even though you can't attack directly, they're pretty much in a lose situation. So that's the main deck. Now going to the extra deck. Double Construct. I think that Construct is a really great card. Um, Being able to destroy opponents' special summon monsters from the extra deck is fantastic. And yeah, it really was able to win me some games, to be honest. Double Winda. Again, Winda is another fantastic card overall. Being able to negate effects from the opponent is sorry, limiting the special summons from your opponent is pretty fantastic. And one El Shaddoll Anoyatilis, I think that's how you pronounce it. Having it at one is good because in the locals meta, there are a couple of Drytron players, and there was also one Necros player when it did come into play, and it was pretty useful. I'm not sure if there's going to be more Drytrons next week or not. It doesn't completely kill their deck, but it does slow them down, which is good enough. So yeah, I think one is good. If it stops working out, or that I see more diners or something, I might just replace it for Shekinaga instead. Then one El Shaddoll Grista. I mean, it's a fire type. I have the Ash Blossoms on hand. Sometimes, again, Ash Blossoms aren't very useful. So Grista, going into Grista might make sense. Now for the Invoked fusions, Elysium. I think that this is a recent addition. I didn't play this card in the tournament, but I feel like this would have saved me some games as opposed to Purgatrio, where I was able to get Purgatrio out, but the opponent didn't have that many monsters, and it really wasn't that relevant overall. So also Invoked Caliga. Invoked Caliga is a double-edged sword. Its effect is pretty good, and definitely it can stall you enough so you can get enough cards and do something about it. And I think that Elysium might be able to help me also, again, removing that Caliga from the field. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out. One Mikaba, I mean, Mikaba negates, so you have monster spells and traps, even though just only a couple of traps. But I mean, its ability to negate the effect is pretty good. Also, invoked Agades, I believe, or Agades. Um, yeah, this card is pretty decent as well. It came into effect in a couple of duels, so that's pretty good. Regen also, it's walking a Book of Moon, so there might be some applicable situations. Um, then one Predaplant Verte Anaconda. Definitely being able to go into your Red Eyes Dark Dragoon or any other Shaddoll fusion is pretty important. It does lock you out for the rest of the turn from other summons, but if you're able to go to Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, I think that it might be good enough. Especially since Red Eyes Dark Dragoon can be destroyed by card effects and can be targeted either, so that's great. One Gravity Controller for monsters that can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. As I mentioned, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. This is a recent addition, and we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully, the 3 cards that I added aren't too much of a brick, but we'll see. Essentially, they're not a brick per se, because they're both Red Eyes, a Black Dragon, and Dark Magician are dark type. So you can always go for a Shaddoll fusion material, but definitely if you do that, you're not going to be able to go for a Dark Dragoon, since you can't recover those cards, at least with what I have. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out. And finally, one Starving Venom, because I have the Super Polys. Dark attribute is very popular, so that will definitely come into play sometimes. So that was the deck profile. If you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you.